Coming up on show 836, Tesla just reduced Model Y prices. By how much and what's it going to cost you to get one? Stick around and I'll tell you more. Plus on the podcast today, we've got a date for Battery Day and the Annual Shareholder Meeting for Tesla. Special tyres for the Porsche Taycan are being developed. The Skoda EV that people are looking forward to based on the VW platform has been spied testing again, and some electric trucks from Renault. Well, good morning, good afternoon or good evening wherever you're listening in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily. This is what happened on Saturday the 11th of June. My name is Martyn Lee and I go through every EV story so you don't have to. Well, thank you as always to myev.com for helping put this show on the air. Thank you very much to the team at MyEV. Couldn't do it without you. Totally free marketplace. If you're in the US, of course, make the most of it. You lucky little sausage if you're in the US to use myev.com. Simplifying the buying and selling process and learning about EVs along the way as well. So a quick public service announcement then. Tesla have announced their 2020 Annual Shareholder Meeting, and the long-awaited Battery Day will be held on the same day. Both are going to be held on Tuesday, the 22nd of September later this year. Now, the 2020 annual meeting, the shareholder meeting, is going to be held in person at 2:30 p.m. Pacific on the 22nd of September, like I mentioned, at Tesla's Fremont factory on Fremont Blvd. And according to InsideEVs, the Battery Day presentation, that is separate. It's going to be separate. It's going to be eligible for those who are stockholders at the moment. Scheduled for the same day, of course. Details not announced about what the content of that will be. Both events will be live streamed, and many expect some bold announcements from Tesla. They have been both quietly and sometimes not so quietly making acquisitions along the way. Not battery companies, but everything around the cell production that they need. And so looks like they're going to be moving. I think it's like the world's worst kept secret. They'll be moving into making their own cells. On what scale, we don't know yet. We're going to find out on Battery Day. And it could be an incredibly important presentation because, of course, we want cheaper cars. We always want to buy a cheaper car. We always want cars to go further. And some people want them always to be quicker. I've never really been a proponent for EV speed. I think the little EV kick that you get when you put your foot down is enough for most people. Those that want to do crazy speeds on the German Autobahn, those that want 0 to 60 in a couple of seconds, you shouldn't be doing that on public roads. And so good luck to you if you are. It would land me in a world of pain with penalty points and things like that to get caught on the license, and so it's just not worth it. But you know what? EVs are exciting and people do like to celebrate the speed that you get from an EV, and I understand that as well. And so this could also be about the longevity of batteries. Now, the whole phrase million-mile battery is one that I've never really used, and one that I do look, there's the million-mile battery is out there. Like, Tesla make a million-mile battery already. But that's the phrase that's kind of been hijacked by many people. In other words, longer-lasting batteries, or more durable batteries, or, batteries that you can get a higher C rate into, or any of these things to do with the considerations of heat and safety and all those things. I'm really looking forward to it, by the way. September 22nd, a date for your diary, or maybe not. Maybe it'll pass you by and you'll listen to this podcast the next day for the summary to save you time. So it's super exciting what's coming. It's either going to be, we found out a way to make things a little bit better across the board. We've made some incremental improvements. It's costing a little bit less, the performance is a little bit better, and we're going to make the cells ourselves, and here's what it does for the energy bit of the business, and storage, and the battery that goes in your garage, and at grid level, or they're going to come out with something spectacular and blow people's socks off. Looking forward to it, and it's going to be September 22nd that we have to wait until. So moving on, headline story today, Tesla has reduced the Model Y prices. They now start below $50,000. It's not like, I've said, there's bits of the internet today that'll say, oh, no demand, they can't sell any Model Ys, look, we found a picture of a car park with Model Ys, they're not selling any. And there's bits of the internet that'll say, yay, Tesla just worked out how to make cars cheaper, they are the best. And the truth is probably somewhere in between. The truth is, as well, if you want to buy an early model of a Tesla, be prepared to pay more, because they've done this every single time that they've released a car. Over time, it's got cheaper. And the Model Y did today. So if you haven't ordered yours yet, and you're thinking about it, here's the story. Long-range all-wheel drive version of the Model Y is now $3,000 less. It's listed at $49,990. Let's call it $50,000. According to TechCrunch and Electrek today as well, reporting that since they released the Model Y earlier in the year, it's only been offered in two versions. Long-range all-wheel drive. So two motors, Model Ys. Always got two motors. Long range, all-wheel drive. Bit more range, less performance. And the performance Model Y. However, just as the Model 3 was in the US, it had that optional performance upgrade pack. I hear Tesla fans calling it the PUP, the PUP. We've never had that, or if we did have it very, very early with the Model 3, it got taken away. In this country, buy a Model 3 performance and you get all the things like the increased top speed, the performance brake, suspension, the pedals, and on the Model Y you now get 21-inch Uber turbine wheels, and they've done that with the Model Y today. They're bundling in, if you get the performance, you get all the performance bits. There's no it used to be called Stealth as well. You could get the quicker car without the giveaway, like the carbon fiber spoiler and the wheels, and that's all gone with the Model Y. So, Tesla is now making that package a standard on Model Y performance orders, and that is just about, near as damn it, $60,000. So there you go. The same version of the Model 3, by the way, interestingly, $3,000 less than the Model Y. Will there ever be a Model Y Standard Range Plus? My prediction is no. Why would you? Because the Standard Range Plus Model 3 has 250 miles, at least I think that was what I was looking at that on the US website, I think anyway. And so that is going to be less on the Model Y. What do you want to take off of that? 15 miles? 10, 12, 15 miles off? Either way, you're going to get into territory of 230 something miles. And that for Tesla isn't a good look, because you then start to play with many of the cars that have that kind of range. And also you go back to the days of the Model S with the smaller battery packs when they had those kind of ranges. And so I don't think Tesla are going to want to go back to selling a car that doesn't go that far. You know, that 250 miles the Model 3 Standard Range Plus does, I think that's a psychological barrier. I'm not sure they'll want to go lower. So I don't know if we'll ever see a Model Y Standard Range Plus, but, you know, we'll see. And so just have a look at the prices. I thought it was interesting to look at the prices. Now that they've lowered them for Model Y, where does it all shake out? And is it a reminder that they're still very expensive cars? I think the whole $35,000 Model 3 thing that was just a huge hoopla of press stories for so long. In some people's minds, they still think Teslas are affordable cars, and by many people's measure, they're certainly not. So Model Y will now cost you either $50,000 or $60,000. $50,000 for long range, $60,000 for performance. That's what it's going to cost you. If you have a look at the Model 3 and compare it, well, the Model 3 long-range all-wheel drive is $47,000. So that is $3,000 less, and that's a pretty close price difference. The performance Model 3 is $55,000, of course it's $60,000 for the Model Y, so $5,000 difference between those two. But the closest they get is $3,000 apart. So if you're going Model 3 long range all-wheel drive, you have to wonder, look, $3,000 more, and I get Model Y. And maybe you don't want the shape and the size of it and all the new things that have been developed over the years, the kind of just the better way that they're building the car, the heat pump and things like that. Or maybe now that $3,000 is enough for you to go, look, Model Y all the way. Just for fun, Model S still costs either $75,000 or $95,000. Model X, $80,000 or $100,000. They still do make very expensive cars, but even the price entry point for the Model Y, $50,000, expensive car. Just for anyone that's like me sometimes, I kind of forget these numbers are out there and I don't look at them every day, and then you sort of realise actually their whole lineup is very, very premium, or at least mid to upper segment of the mid-range premium sort of price brackets of cars. Delivery, for what it's worth, had a check on all of the different cars at the minute, and they all say 4 to 8 weeks on all models. There you go. Rightio, moving on. Hankook Tyre is equipping the first all-electric sports car from Porsche, the Taycan, with its new tyres. They're called Ventus tyres. Ventus S1 Evo 3. Special tyres made for the Porsche Taycan, fitted with 55 R19s on the front, and it'll be 45 R19s on the rear. And Hankook says that the Ventus S1 Evo 3 tyres especially made for the Porsche Taycan, with a lot of technical refinements. According to moderntiredealer.com website, the site that I have to have a look to find the research for this show and the things that I have to do for you. Interesting site though, moderntiredealer.com. They say that the tread pattern of these new Hankook tyres for the Taycan was adapted to reduce tyre noise, and because there's no engine noise in EVs. Good shout. And also to meet the extra demand of the incredible torque coming from electric motors. The tyre's bead was reinforced with bead packing technology. I've no idea what it is, but it sounds good, and I think I want it. And so yeah, EVs are quiet, EVs are quick, and you need special tyres for that. And so Hankook saying they've actually improved the abrasion resistance by 5%, helping get more performance out of the car, but also lower rolling resistance, helping the range. So, a car from Skoda that is going to be one of the most important cars that Skoda ever sell. October last year, we saw the Skoda Enyaq for the very first time. The Enyaq, I think I say IV. I don't think it's not Roman numerals. It's not 4. I think it's the IV. The first SUV from Skoda that's all electric, and the Enyaq is going to be on the market next year. Now we see more spy pictures of the EV. 3 different test cars, funnily enough. According to Motor One, a very heavily disguised vehicle being unloaded from a truck and then taken onto a test route in the Alps. It was also towing. It was towing a 2-axle trailer. Interesting. The Enyaq will be a heavily based, a Skoda version of a car heavily based on the Volkswagen ID4. Those 2 cars sharing just about everything that's possible, and many things as well to reduce the cost. But of course, the Skoda will still, look and have the Skoda badge on the front. They'll be different, and the checker model will get its own design on the outside as well. So, Renault has been testing a new prototype electric delivery truck since 2017, and it's a 16-tonner, and it's now reaching production stage. These new Renault trucks are going to be retrofitted for all kinds of work, things like refrigerated trucking, box trucks, garbage collectors, and about 75 miles on a charge. I know that's not the longest range, but according to Jalopnik, if all the current diesel short-range delivery and trash collection trucks were phased out for EVs, like this one, city centres would be quieter, it'd smell nicer, and actually you could go back to the depot and charge, because these vehicles often do the same thing every day. Moving on. According to the latest news from China, the total production of Tesla Model 3 at the Chinese Gigafactory in China, it amounted to about 50,000 units so far. The data is provided by a Twitter account called Moneyball. 49,799 made-in-China Model 3s produced in the first half of the year. Actually makes Tesla the biggest manufacturer of EVs in China at the moment. The second biggest is BYD. They made about 40,000 in the first half of the year for over 10 different models. No single model even close to the made-in-China Tesla Model 3. They're starting to crank that one up, aren't they? I always mention on this show how it's so important to electrify the vehicles that go the furthest. And that might not be the car that you and I have in our driveway. Sure, it's exciting to go EV, but it's essential to go EV for a working vehicle, the ones that will do 1 million miles. Now, electric cars could deliver even greater environmental benefits if they're used by ride-hailing services, Uber and Lyft, working vehicles, according to a new study from the University of California, says the website Green Car Reports. If you replace a petrol ride-hailing vehicle with a pure electric ride-hailing vehicle, you get 3 times the carbon reduction of a personally owned EV. It's so important that EVs are working vehicles as well. Ride-hailing cars will do more miles than a personal car many times over. They also typically charge during the day when there's, certainly in California, solar feeding the grid. And previous studies have shown that EVs get cleaner as the grid gets cleaner, and the electricity that you charge EVs with gets cleaner. Companies and regulators are already taking steps to make ride-hailing cars all electric based on Uber and Lyft data from California in 2017 and 2018. The study found that many ride-hailing drivers were already starting to go electric in California, making up a tiny fraction of the total traffic, but actually accounting for more than 30% of energy use at public charging stations. And finally, a story about the side cameras on the Teslas, the ones that would be used for Sentry mode. The Australian Tesla owner's Twitter account just tweeted, "Elon, can we get the side repeater cameras to show full screen when we indicate?" Elon replied with one of his very regular "sure" tweets. He often replies back to people who he likes the idea. Sure. And then we find a software update, and the clever girls and boys at Tesla have incorporated it. In a recent software update, they gave owners the ability to see those cameras, but only on a smaller view. The new update will automatically make those side repeater cameras full screen whenever the driver signals a turn or a lane change. Very useful feature to fill in the blind spots and make the cars even safer. Well, if you want to feedback on any of the stories today, email me hello@evnewsdaily.com or leave a comment in the YouTube show. Well, I haven't mentioned this recently, but if you get a chance to leave a little review on Apple Podcasts, either open the app on your phone or tablet, or open iTunes on a computer. Shudder. It's still going somehow. You can go to EV News Daily, click on reviews and ratings, and say a few words. You don't have to, obviously. If you get a chance, it really helps me grow the show. Thank you to all of the Patreon supporters of the show, my premium partners: Phil Roberts of Electric Future, Brad Crosby, Avid Technology, Brightsmith Group, Porsche of the Village in Cincinnati, Audi of Cincinnati East, and Volvo Cars of Cincinnati East. And now nationalcarcharging.com and aloharcharge.com in Hawaii. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow, and remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.